But, yes,
I forget what.
Yeah, Johnny. Oh, there's extra.
call the order.
Oh, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 5:46 PM on December the 5th, 2018. Can we have a roll call, please?
Armand Barber,
Present.
Jesus Ruiz,
Present.
okay. Eddie Ochoa, Edward Ochoa,
Present. I don't know, Eddie. Sorry.
Benny Salinas,
Present.
Juan Salinas,
Present.
I think, or Mr. Cantu.
Yes, present.
Okay,
Danny may be late, I guess.
that's right. But we do have a quorum.
Fernando Lozano. En an excuse absent.
Thank you, sir. Item number 3, consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of November 7th, 2018.
And we have
I have
those
a-
meetings.
No, we do not have the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we push it to the next meeting.
Second.
Or table the item until the next meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 4, Chairman Committee Reports and Communications.
So Chairman, there's no communications, then can we go over the communications that we're going to P&Z tomorrow for both the irrigation ordinance and the setbacks? Because I believe there's some items that maybe got overlooked.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay.
Since there wasn't a.
If we need a motion, we can do it under this
Yeah.
item.
There's no item for it.
I guess we can start with the one that we're on, the irrigation ordinance, and then move on to the other, just to rectify it.
Okay, so, do I just go down this?
Yeah, go down that.
That one.
Okay, so the first one was certification.
It's section 25.
2580.
I'll just see if there's any changes there before it. Oh, okay.
Okay, since I do have a copy of this report, I can just read this and you follow the red.
Okay.
So certification by irrigation contractor. A document signed by the irrigation contractor and submitted to the city of Laredo at the request of the final inspection, certifying that the irrigation system was installed, tested, and conforms to irrigation design submitted and approved with the irrigation permit application, and that the system complies in all respects with the city of Laredo chapter 25 plumbing requirements.
Okay, that's consistent.
And it's just a typo.
If I may comment on that,
Yeah.
can you scroll back to that? I'm just trying to think of it. Ours says certification by irrigation contractor, and the other one says certification of irrigation contractor. So I know I'm just the semantics of it, but I'm just curious.
Well, this
I'm
is.
trying to think in my head, does the by and the of mean something
Well, the stuff on the right was what was recommended by the committee.
by us? Yeah.
Yeah.
Certification by irrigation contractor.
You're saying the other one sounds like if you're trying to certify the
The
contractor.
contractor himself, that's kind of what I'm worried about. So we might need to just make sure that the P and Z one says
By.
certification by,
So correct. the-
because I would be afraid that if we say certification of, then they may get the misinterpretation that you're trying to certify the contractor through that
So that one.
section. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you could, but
On the left, which is the communication, it's certification of, it should be certification by. The definition.
The definition. Read first.
Oh, certification. It's an of irrigation contractor.
Should be say
Should
by.
be by.
By, yeah, just so that there's no misinterpretation of what is to be certified.
Okay. All right, so then, okay, so we go on to 4.
Irrigation, oh. No. Further down? And that was the definition of,
Separate requirement compliance.
yeah, well, you skipped that one. How could, go down, further. Did you accept changes on the document?
You want to do it?
No.
No, I didn't.
Because it's not showing the comments on the site anymore. But
No,
anyway.
that's a PDF he's marking on this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's a-
So, is that?
Look, this
further-
is,
No, yeah, go up, scroll, no, not that one. The other one. Go scroll down, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Push it up.
To the same spot as the
but
other.
you see, it should be, it's missing that.
So they're 2583.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're only, in other words, the way that they're doing the.
Only putting what
They're
they're.
only putting what's changing,
Now,
the
on
sections that are
Can you
changing.
scroll, can you take on the Word document? Down at the bottom bar?
Go to 2583.
Yeah, can you move to the right to see if it, that's to the right? Just the bottom bar.
The opposite, I guess what you did.
Yes. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure that,
See the comments,
yeah,
comment changes.
yeah, so go down, because on the blue, I guess it wasn't any, the Democrats, right? According to Arvin.
So it went down
The blue wave?
to 83.
It's a real thing?
Okay,
blue
okay,
ripple.
apply, so that one is in section 85, 83,
Number 4.
number 4,
So compliance and comply, it was just a
comply. okay.
grammatical
The
correction.
compliance, comply.
And then we're removing the brackets, if I believe. Those brackets were supposed to be removed, because that was kind of like the brackets were scratched off. Because nowhere else was there brackets.
Okay.
Okay, on the right. I know it's just little petty stuff, but
No, Judy.
Sorry. What did Chewy say, that that was in the details?
the devil is in the details. Yes, sir. Like of and by. And Aggie, the Aggie's on.
The Aggies catching it.
Yeah.
So for the city and val instead of value. Okay.
There was a duplicated word, I think. It was
It was captured. Go, keep going down.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was removing
It said
a,
value instead of valve.
value and.
See, no, it
oh,
wasn't.
okay.
It wasn't repeated, it's just value and val.
Oh, okay,
Good.
okay.
So it got replaced or corrected.
There was there's another removal up there.
At the, go down a little bit. You pass it. Go, yeah. No,
This
no,
way?
Yeah, yeah, right
I see,
there,
I
there,
see.
there.
Greater.
Greater? Whichever's greater, question mark?
Yeah,
No question
we
mark.
put a period there.
Yeah. Our ordinance asks questions.
There we have here question and,
Petty. Petty.
okay. Period.
Petty question mark.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess if I go this way, I'll be able to see.
Yeah, that's why I had you on the right there, so
There
we
you
can
go.
see, there you go.
We can just speed through it.
Let me go ahead and. No, I don't need this one right now.
Well,
But it still didn't come out.
yeah. No,
So
it is because
that's
I had a-
that of 5. So 2587, inspection number 4.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the original document there.
Yeah. So for not less than 5 minutes. So that was okay.
And that was in red on your document?
Yeah, it's red.
Okay.
And then I have to go to 6,
Oh,
and there it is. And so here it says, delete the dot, and at the end of certification of irrigation contractor, period. Okay? And then the date here at the bottom, okay, annually rather than,
Really, it should have said, there we made a mistake, it should have said certification by.
okay. There's a mistake here, there was
Well,
no,
no, it was the semantic, or the, no, that's a correct word, but the wording, certification of, should have been certification by. Go back up,
yeah, no, I have it here by.
oh, you have it by,
Yeah, I mean, it says of,
but we're gonna
but
change it to by.
to by. Let's change it to by.
Certification by irrigation. Because we're not certifying the irrigation contractor.
Yeah, you almost have to put it there too.
Yeah. we made a mistake.
Put it there also. I mean, those all can get correct. I mean, that doesn't change our decision on it. We just,
Yeah.
And this one is the registration annually, and so I needed to add it, it was not added. Okay,
So did you correct yours? Because I think that was also, that also was wrong on the,
to scale, and it says, need to add minimum size. Because it says at a minimum,
yeah, minimum 1/8, and it was not to put it less than 1/8 scale.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but why does it say like backwards? It's like Kyoto. Why doesn't it say irrigation plans used for construction must be to 1/4 inch minimum scale? Or is it, you say it like that?
Like you.
You know, it's like scale minimum size 1/8 equals 1 inch. Doesn't matter.
I think that's the way they've done it on
Okay.
other documents. But did they catch, was the annually correct on yours?
Yes.
Okay.
I changed.
Oh, change the document.
And here, he missed the minimum size,
Okay.
so that's already been changed. Changes there and there,
Yeah, remove the,
the bracket. And then here is
that's the one we.
state.
Oh.
That's item
It
2.
had hard
And-
Kate, yeah, before. So we had the S.
Benny and I cannot see that, you know that. Is it something that you guys can see very
Yeah,
clearly?
I can see.
I can see
I
it.
can see it. I got a headache, but I can see it.
I bet you what you guys are saying, porque I can read it.
You need some of these with 3 lines.
Can you make it a little bit
I'm fixing to
bigger?
get that next time I go.
Yeah, for the monitor, right?
okay.
Yeah.
Either that or
So it's just
just
saying,
the monitor.
no irrigation or vegetation shall be installed within 48, that's the one we just did.
Yeah, we already corrected 4 and
Yeah,
5.
that's the other one.
Yeah, those two.
We
were
discussed
correct.
4 and 5 already.
Oops, here, prohibited,
H.
all the brackets,
Yeah, it looked like they got a form document and then they forgot to remove that.
And all the brackets are still there on the final draft?
That's why when I went through the deal, I said, okay, well, what did they submit? And I was like, oh.
okay, so then this one, it says, for M1, okay, if the area being irrigated contains rock,
We scratched out pass, I guess.
has rock in excess of 50% of soil,
We scratched out has and
and more than,
we scratched out has and inserted contains.
yeah, that's been scratched here. And form,
There's something there that doesn't make
Form to
sense.
from,
How can you go from like in excess of 50% of soil, the material, select backfill maybe used around, and then maybe used as should or should not be used? Is it
There's
is
something
or
wrong there.
doesn't?
It's 50% of the soil, of the material?
The
No,
soil material.
soiled
The
material?
soil, the material, oh, yeah, that's,
It doesn't sound like it.
yeah. Of the soil material.
Of the material, not soil. Of the material?
In excess of 50%.
Of content. Isn't that what the geotechs usually use? Just content, like if it's the
Well, that's
raw
why.
content.
Get rid of soil
Yeah.
and just say of the material.
It looks sound a little bit nicer if you get rid of 50% of the soil material.
What's the purpose behind that one? I'm still trying to
If
get.
too much, I guess what I understand is too much rock.
You have too much rock in your
Yeah,
backfill,
yeah,
then you have to
6
use select backfill,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah, they say that you need 6 inches. That's the least amount of soil you need to be able to grow grass. Is what one of the irrigators was saying.
I get it.
So I think it was the one that helps Tony. I forget his name all the time. But it's the one that does all the irrigation systems for Tony. He's the one that said, oh, you need at least 6 inches to grow. Huh?
Fonseca.
So it's of the soil material.
But you're saying to
No,
grow
the
the
soil.
vegetation, but that's talking about putting select
soil.
fill, maybe use around the pipe. It's like to put that around the pipe, not to grow that 6 inches, to grow the vegetation.
Sit right or?
And then you're saying it needs to, but there it says may be used. Like may or not. I mean, is it we're doing it or not
There's a
doing it?
difference between may and shall.
See, I remember the conversation here was that you don't want to have rock at the bottom of the pipe.
Yeah, you want to select fields,
You want to
you won't
soil.
crack pipes.
So select fill is required around the pipe.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have 50% rock on the soil material.
You want to select bedding, that's what he was trying to say.
Yes. Right. Because it says may, it's not required. Oh, but it says may, and I'm interpreting that all different.
That's not mandatory if it's may.
Right. It's not,
I don't
it's not
think so.
enforceable.
I don't like it.
So it'd be true.
So Edward, what's the semantic on it?
Shall.
Of or by?
Well, I mean, two things. One is how do you describe the soil? Soil, the material is not right. So how do we describe that? 50% of the soil
Well,
material?
what it used to say is if the irrigator has rock more than in excess of 50%, more than 50% of soil material.
If the area being irrigated contains.
Well, you don't have to say.
Rock in excess of
Just get rid of
50%.
the.
I think you just leave it soil material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
get rid of
It might somewhat be deadly, but.
That's what Arvin said, yeah.
There's no job for the-
It's what?
No, that's what Arvin had, doesn't say.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
What's
At
that?
the end that happens anyway. You know?
What's that?
That's what Armin said.
I think we just take out the material.
I'm gonna toss on your wife.
Oh,
So
no.
that
See, that's true.
Yeah,
That never happens, I'll just tell you right now.
This got changed. So, and, those have been changed, so we're okay.
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 All the brackets, like we said.
Yeah. Public water. So there's two more here.
No education, no title can prevent that from changing.
No,
No,
beaver?
it's just,
Is it no beaver?
Better?
No beber.
no,
Agua de
Is that in Spanish?
No,
Pero mira, agua de recuperation, that's Spanish.
Recuperación.
es agua de recuperación.
Recuperación should be with a C, no C-I-O-N, not a T.
Yeah, with a C, C-I-O-n.
Recuperación.
Recuperation.
No, that's recuperate, yeah.
But wait, agua de recuperación, that's like reclaimed water?
Yes.
Yeah, those are the signs for the reclaimed water. Do not drink.
Or if you have your own little reclaim system in your house, you can
No.
triple pipe it.
No, it's like at the country club where
Yeah.
they're using effluent.
Yeah, effluent water. And that's
Effluent,
what
so-
they-
Well, because, yeah,
They did a whole new subdivision in the valley, that big curve that they did in North McAllen. And they purple pipe all the irrigation in there.
I've seen
And
it.
they're buying it for 12 cents, or I
It's very,
guess whatever the
it's very common
country
in
club's buying
Florida.
it for.
You have three systems. You have.
The
your-
gray water or whatever they call it.
You have your gray water, which is a purple pipe, your sewer, which is some. green
That
pipe,
one is
and
not
then
here.
blue water.
Which
Blue
one's that?
pipe for the domestic water.
$25
And
nights.
it's all mandatory, all Florida have to have. a blue
it's not
water.
on there because we didn't change anything.
It's gotta be close to the source.
Yeah, there's nothing to change there anyways.
I know, we just,
Well, recuperación should, I don't think
See.
that's spelled correctly in
it's
Spanish.
probably like a spell check error.
Well, that's,
Oh, yeah.
it's correcting it in English.
Yeah,
You're
Yeah.
gonna correct it in Spanish there?
United States.
Recuperación, just for correction purposes, I think is CION.
Double C?
Recuperación.
Yeah, it's just,
Recuperación en inglés.
Why is it
Recovery.
middle of it and then it goes blank?
Once.
Recuperación would be
The
accent.
sign, the sign.
Reclaim.
Yeah, I know, but
You wanna-
technically,
That should be-
that should be a C, and then there should be an accent on the O, but if you want to get really technical. That's according to Google.
No, it's
Not
true.
me.
I never learned that.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at the accent. But that wouldn't have been, Chewy, that wouldn't have been in the minutes for the P and Z because we weren't correcting it.
Like a second.
On that,
think
on
it
the
really
work
matters.
on, should we do we do anything to the main? Do we do needs or required, or we just left it as main? Main
Oh, yeah.
use bedding?
You say may use a select fill around the pipe instead of
Shall.
shall or.
so continuing education was
We
changed,
left it that way.
except it was kept as years. So introduction per years, I changed it to year.
Okay. Those are just spell checks. I guess they were okay.
I'm just trying to make it so that says that's our training.
Well, no, they went rolling the down, she was
Well, that's
driving
the end
nuts.
already, that's 26 or 26.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
We're good?
Is this an ordinance that was designed specifically for irrigators or for the homeowner or for the city or for who? Who's supposed?
The ordinance is the ordinance, in other words, it's the city law.
Yeah,
This
So-
is,
so
are we
ordinance-
following somebody else's plan,
no.
ordinance from other cities, or is that what we're doing here? Or is this originally from Laredo? This is a plan
This,
for Laredo?
this ordinance was done back in 2010, it appears, ordinance
Yeah.
number 2010.
Correct.
So it was done back in 2010, and then we were charged to relook at this ordinance, so that's what we're doing right now. Or that's what we did.
We don't know
But
where
it was
originated.
communicated to
2010.
the P and
I think
Z.
it came out of San.
When I read the communications, I said, wait a second, this is, this is not what we,
I didn't.
I'm asking these questions because I hear a lot of complaints out there. How many licensed irrigators do we have here in Laredo? More or less.
I can give you that number. I wish I could have.
I know that on the
have it ready
list,
for
on the
you.
list that they had, there was like about 30 or 40,
20-something.
yeah.
And they never did show up at any of our meetings to.
Sure they did.
No, they didn't.
All of them? All 30?
No.
not
everybody. All of them.
We had about 3 or 4 at every meeting. So was there a way that we could, that you could communicate this ordinance to all of them?
When
that's
it gets
it.
introduced, okay, that's for the public to read and come back to the council before they approve it. So that's where they can have
Well,
an
I
opportunity.
mean, if they go to council and complain, they were called repeatedly. We had at least 5 or 6 times for them to be able to come. The very first time, we met at Public Works, and we probably had
That's true.
15, about 15 of there, so we had a good representation. And then we had the more vocal ones, we had the ones that are doing a lot of commercial work. We had the ones that were doing residential work, so we had a good representation, because we had Tony does a lot of work, and the guy that does Tony's work was does it, was there, we had Cantu, we had Can, we had Octavio that does a lot of stuff.
Hollywood
Yeah.
downstairs.
Santos, I mean, we had a good representation. So, I mean, if they're out there complaining, you know, they had plenty of opportunity to voice their concerns, and I think we captured all the concerns on this thing.
Now we have.
Did you capture the concern that they have to go to 3 different places to get all the permits that they need?
That's beyond the scope of this recommendation.
That's one of the complaints I hear a lot, you know, that they have to go to so many different places to get everything, something done, you know?
Chairman, just
Takes
one,
months to get a water meter?
Chairman, one recommendation, I guess with these edits, what we'll do at the P and Z, just to make it just short and simple, that we'll just identify that there's some small items that were updated, more grammatical type of items, but I think the one item that kind of sticks out, we'll point it out that that's a change, the one with
The whole paragraphs.
that one paragraph that had
The
the
drip irrigation.
the drip irrigation,
Yeah,
correct.
because that was one.
I guess we'll point that one out, because that one's a bit more sensitive. All the other stuff, I think it's more, they're not gonna care, yeah. And so I don't wanna go just item by item,
Yeah.
explaining the whole
Yeah,
thing.
no doubt.
So if this is an ordinance that, the city, and a home, you have to comply with the city. Some of you guys are developers, and you create an HOA, right? Do you do it, the homeowners, the developer, does he create the HOA?
If he wants to, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
If he has to, if he wants to.
And when you do an HOA, do they follow this, or they can add more to this thing, you know?
They can make it less restrictive, but they can make it more restrictive.
At a minimum, they have to follow it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be less, it can be.
You can make them go to 4 different places to get their
But-
meter.
Your HOA office.
The only thing about those RD restrictions and their private agreement between the developer and the buyer, and the city cannot enforce the more restrictive, they can only enforce what's in the ordinance.
If they choose to.
If they
choose to.
If they choose to. They're supposed to, but we don't.
If they choose to.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
No more questions?
So we good with
I
that
guess we're good
one?
with this one, right? Then maybe we can look at the other one.
The other one has a lot more.
And I saved
What's the
it.
other one?
The other one was the setbacks,
Oh,
because we weren't supposed to do anything on commercial, and the first thing in there is like, if it goes into the community, into the central business district.
You're talking about on the table itself?
I think the table got captured. It was,
was,
just go out of that one? Oh yeah, okay. That's the one that you all submitted.
Shu, you're not gonna try to push for the front setbacks, right? No? Okay.
No, I'm not trying to modify anything. What I'm saying is that, okay, you go down. And there, we didn't have anything in there to waive anything for commercial.
Yeah, we only have that residential.
Yeah. See, right off the bat, we didn't have anything to change supplementary standards for commercial. We didn't have anything to change building setbacks on the central business district. So minimize that one a little bit.
Is there a way you can make it bigger? The letters?
We want to minimize.
It's already 400%.
It's already there. Now we can do it.
that was funny, Armand.
Go ahead.
That's like my wife, man, she has on her phone, the letters are like the size of that 6, it's like,
So you're saying this, and so I would assume 10-3?
The 10-3, no, not that one, I think it was the other one.
11-7?
That,
Well, look at
Yeah.
the word.
It would have been 11/7. That's what we meant.
oh yeah, 11-7. Yeah, because we converted it to a Word document. And Edward, I think you were supposed to get together, did you ever get together?
You never sent me,
No.
you never sent me anything to look
No,
over.
that's nothing.
Really, we were just gonna
That's
look
nothing.
over grammatical and stuff.
That was grammatical.
I think we just maybe just kind of looking over, making sure the wording looked good. But no, I don't recall receiving the PDF to review, or the Word document.
I think we had, I wrote the new page numbers again or not? Because before we they posted a.
Wait, I'm gonna go to 362 pages?
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention.
I know.
I bet you there's a way to
Yeah,
jump through it over.
IV 33.
IV 33?
Just make it small again.
What was it? Give me a title.
IV.
Standard.
Okay, articles, zoning regulations?
Yeah. And then I had,
We're almost
it used to be
there.
page 130, it used to be page 129, but then they had, when I had done this stuff, then they updated the document. So my old,
Okay, that's, this is, okay, so let me go to the next one.
Yeah, I just type in the whole IV-33. That's pretty hard, yeah. Just, yeah, you have a little space on it, so it's gonna, yeah.
I did with this one, I hyperlinked the index there to all the different sections, but then when they update the book, that's.
Yeah, that's
I don't want to
happens,
do it all
yeah.
again. So I didn't do
They
it.
updated the book, so my page numbers were
It was all hyperlinked, they're real nice, but back like in those,
Does that one show you the page number that you're at or not? Where does it show you the page
Page
number?
96.
Okay, go to page 129.
So you go to the next one, just hit it, yeah. and like-
No, but that's still in, it's in the appendix. There's no, there was only 2 of 2.
Page 129.
129?
Just exit the navigation and go to 129, or? There we go.
oh, on the right hand side. You take the page number comes out.
125,
Which one do you want?
129.
What, there's page 129, but what's?
Okay, well, I guess go a little bit further down. I just, because it used to be 139, 129.
But what is it, your IV 33?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm watching your old.
See, you didn't do anything on that, and these were the ones that you all were supposed to get together on.
I know, yeah, I don't recall ever receiving that document for me to correct up for him. In all honesty, I never followed up with him after that to send it to me.
So maybe for the meeting, I think is either, because there's a lot of stuff. Well, that's one of them. And that didn't get documented, right? Section 2465?
65.
Yeah, no. Okay, so 33, IV 34. Further down, it was supposed to be page 130, so I guess it's the next one. Oh, yeah, all those, that little section there was all supposed to be removed.
Removed.
But that's the easy part.
Yeah.
They can always just say, okay, we're gonna scratch this because it didn't apply anymore. Even if you left it in there, it's still.
I think the main thing
Didn't affect
to
anything.
discuss is gonna be that chart with
The chart.
with all the values of the setbacks. That's really gonna be the discussion points.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
Because they're gonna want
lettuce
to
and tomatoes, they don't really care about it.
move it around.
Yeah.
Now, that's what we say, and I agree with you,
Yeah,
except
but,
last time we went to
no,
P&Z,
because the attorney,
first thing,
the Flores.
when I went Flores, Erasmo just said, hey, you need it, whenever you all bring in stuff from y'all's committee, it needs to be in a finished format with get this read and this, you know, there's a certain way to do the ordinance. It needs to come like that, not just.
Oh, yeah, because I
Or
think,
presenting it there.
I think this does that. The only thing, I guess I'm just saying for discussion purposes, that I think the main
Oh, yeah.
point of discussion is
There's
just
So
gonna
we
be
the
bring
values.
this
Yeah.
one to them, it's just that whatever was presented to them.
All I'm saying is that that document that's there is nada que ver with
what
the
we came up with.
recommendations were. And that document is what was,
Yes.
in other words, that's what everybody, in other words, if
That's what
somebody's.
was published
tec-
and.
Yeah, in other words, if somebody wants to be,
They'd have to change it at the meeting themselves, I would think, in order to make it into the deal.
And
That's what you're saying. You can't just say, okay, yeah, we agree with it, and then switch it.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause that was old,
or I don't know if
that was a key cell.
it matters.
Yeah.
It just seems to
No,
me that it
that,
should matter.
that was a big issue there with Key Salmon a long time ago. I don't know if you remember that issue or not. Where one got presented at P and Z and it was approved and all that, and then the final ordinance was a different deal. Politically, it just happened that that little move there was, everybody was watching. So that's what really got him in like big trouble. So I don't think they're gonna make that same error again, in my opinion. But I don't know how it goes down. But nobody's gonna care as much about this stuff, because this, all this does is just coincide with whatever the, and they're not gonna just check mark the thing, they're gonna make changes.
I guess the
to
question is, can
code.
this thing get done before the meeting so that you present the correct one at the meeting?
That would be just the ideal thing, just to provide the update. It's kind of the same item,
So-
the same discussion with the other one.
Yeah.
There's some grammatical items just to, and the excuse really is just,
and highlight.
we have the
the-
follow-up meeting that was today, and so that's where we're able to fine tune little components. But please, accept this as the updated, but the main discussion is,
I bet you money what's gonna happen there is they're gonna change around a couple of those items.
oh yeah,
Yeah, so the chart's gonna change as far as their recommendation goes, and they'll probably say, if I was them, I would think that they're probably gonna say, okay, and then, so now we have to go back and change all these little parts over here that you all changed to match the chart. You all need to go back and change them all again to match what we just decided on, the new chart, before it goes to city council. That's what's gonna end up happening. So the discussion's probably not gonna be every single little item here.
Well, how many additional meetings are there for P and Z? Are there more than one meeting? Is there more than just
I
tomorrow's
think
meeting?
this is,
Tomorrow is the only meeting for this year.
for this year, that's.
No,
Tomorrow's the last
but
meeting for this year.
before it goes to,
Council.
before it goes to council, does it have to go more than once to P and Z? Because it went once, the last,
So it's not like city council that's introduced,
He's saying like a
and
flat-
then
like
like a final reading, introduction, and then reading.
Usually you take a flat, you take a preliminary, then you go final, but it's still, it's not the same thing over again, it's a different, right? It's different when you go final, because you might have changed it at one-stop shop. So
No, what I'm
this
saying
time
is,
it's a different
is there
document,
any,
nothing
is
ever
there
has to go
any,
twice.
is there more than one hearing required at P and Z? At
No.
council, there's two hearings, it's
Because
the
even for zoning,
introductory
it's
and then
just
the
one.
one.
That's only one, but
Zone
they can
change
always
one.
table or say, take it back and fix it up and bring
Yeah,
it
that's
back
what can
again.
happen.
Okay.
And that's what
Table,
happened.
but it's not official, it's not like it has to.
Which is what happened last time. Okay. So
I mean,
then
it's worth a try.
Yeah,
No,
it's-
no, no, no,
That's
no.
pretty much the outcomes, it's gonna be either two things. Either one, they're gonna make some suggestion on changes, and either both parties agree,
Right,
and then
then-
those changes get presented to council, or if there's a difference of opinion, then when it moves to council, you have the opinion of the P and Z and opinion of the.
Right.
In our opinion, it didn't have to be
Yeah,
posted anywhere. So, yeah, it didn't have to be the same, it didn't have to be posted either, right? So it only has to be posted at the, when it goes to city council. So it can change, I would imagine, well, I don't know if it can change or not. We're just telling the P and Z, hey, this is what we're gonna recommend to council, and they might recommend something totally different, right?
Right.
So I guess the question that I have is,
The chart.
will this document be able to be presented tomorrow corrected for the P and Z meeting?
They're trying to say the P and Z is not gonna read through all this stuff, they don't care. They're gonna focus on the chart, because all
Yeah,
of
but
this
they
is
won't-
gonna
but-
change when they change the chart, and they are gonna change
They
it.
want their.
But they're gonna
no,
wanna see that.
I guess what I'm trying to say, yes, we do need to corrective stuff, the only thing I'm just saying at the discussions, they're not gonna be reading every single item, about it, but they do wish to see that as if it's being
Correct.
presented,
But we can
as
work
if it's a
on this.
finished product.
They do not.
Regular generic rephrase, kind of what you were saying, but
So then the answer is yes, they're gonna correct it for the presentation.
Mhm.
And then, Mr. Chairman, do you wanna call a special meeting 2 weeks after that? Just in case we wanna modify our
recommendation?
Our recommendation?
Is if we modify the recommendation, does it have to go back to P&Z?
Yeah, then they
No, to coincide with theirs. In other words, so we don't have a, that's why we
approve
did.
whatever they recommend.
When we did the R1B recommendation, we had the recommendation for the R1B, and then when P&Z reviewed it, they said, oh, yes, no, we don't want, 5-foot setbacks in the back, or we don't want 10-foot setbacks in the back, we want 20-foot setbacks in the, we had certain recommendations that they changed, and what we did was we had a meeting and we changed ours to coincide with theirs, except for 1 or 2 items.
And that way, and then we just release something that says,
Yeah.
hey,
They concur.
we had something different, but hey, we concur with these guys
Yeah.
now. I agree, and maybe it could just be a real quick,
Just a quick meeting,
just to go and sign off on it. If, when we call the meeting, we send out what the P&Z did, and just kind of say, hey, this is what we showed, this is what they say, do we all agree that we're gonna agree or not agree with the P&Z? And if
That's
they do,
kind of where you
it's
get
gonna
issues,
get-
or you're gonna
do a quick
have
vote.
differences or.
we can.
Should be able to meet on team view.
Corey, we requested feedback from the irrigators.
We're back at the irrigation.
Well, no, I'm saying we requested feedback from the irrigators. Did we request feedback from the developers and builders and setbacks that we're
When we
doing?
did the setbacks, Johnny sent it to Sherry, and it went to all the builders associations.
Association.
And we had, I think the only.
We had fire
respondent-
department, I guess from our side, we even had fire department.
Yeah, we
Invited
contacted,
planning.
yeah, so on that, AEP was here.
AEP was there.
AEP was at 2 of the, at least one of the meetings. Andy, who's one of the vice president of the Builders Association, was here at one of the meetings when you sent Sherry the.
Typically, we have a very low turnout from builders when they're, especially when they're, what do you call it? When there's a big, what do you call that? When they're
Well, I
big
think-
stakeholders in the changes, we typically they don't come around as often as you would like for some reason. But yeah, we had the vice president of the Builders Association here, and he's a developer too.
Mr. Chair, just to cover the bases again, I was gonna mention, Victor, do you have that copy though? That tomorrow, the corrected one that you're gonna prepare, because the one,
They're gonna make a change.
Yeah.
but do they have
I
a copy
brought-
of the good one? Or they're just
USB
using
and
their
that
notes?
copy, yours.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so this is the one that
yes,
I could pretty much accept these changes,
yes.
and that will be it.
Well, no,
I don't-
because what happened was this, when we made this deal, that one was based, all I did was I converted the PDF, that's why it's got all those other, I converted the PDF to a Word document, and then I made the notations, and then we went item by item on each one of those to accept the changes or reject the changes. And then
Roland.
Roland said that he had access to the original PDF document. So really, those need to get compared with the original PDF document.
But wasn't Roland making changes on a copy that was on their drive as we were going? Because we said, you know what, too, we can't use the copy that you have, the copy has to be the one that the city has, and we're using, we ended up finding the document.
No, that was for the irrigation, ordinance, is when we found the document that we had all worked on. But on this one, it was always the Word document that we had. Originally, it was a PDF. I had presented, or had submitted as a PDF, which is one of the files in there, and then at the next meeting, once we had the chart that Johnny had done, we brought the chart and I converted the PDF to a Word document, and everything got messed up because when I went in there, I said, okay, let me make sure I've got the right document, and they had just published a new version of it on the website. So I converted that new website to a Word document because we didn't have the original Word document. And then Roland had said at the meeting that he had access to that Word document. So he was gonna incorporate the changes.
So which is,
So-
that's why this one has extra stuff
No, that one has not, I guess,
in it. This supplementary provisions?
yeah, those
There's a lot
were,
of stuff in there that we didn't even discuss and that
No,
we're
no,
not
no,
supposed
no.
to change. Yeah, so we don't know where all those things
I
came
don't
from.
know where he got that from. Because it was clear, in other words, it was clear at the meetings that we had no authorization to do anything on, other than residential. In other words, it was kind of like, it was crystal clear.
On a side note, sorry.
Yeah, because even he was even changing the size of the lots of the manufactured housing
Who was?
in there.
Oh,
There's one that changed
what did
it
he go down to?
to 3,000.
See, that's not a bad idea.
Well, I know.
No, I'm saying for single wives, because that's the way it is if you had a rental park. No, they have like a whole 2 or 3 pages in there for rental
No,
park.
I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm just saying that wasn't part of that, and that's in that document.
That's, that's gonna be part of the affordable housing conversation going forward, it has to be. Warren Buffett owns like 50 or 60% of the whole market now.
No, but,
Manufactured home market.
really?
And the mortgage. Oh yeah, he owns Clayton Homes, he owns a bunch of them. Actually buying a lot of home builders now. They just bought Mungo.
Well, yeah, because they're like depressed on the values.
They're on like the top,
They're like at all-time lows. Lennar is at 40.
Clayton's in the
not-
top 20 now.
Anything in here is mentioned of that supplementary provisions. So I wonder if it's just.
No, but when we wrote the item, in other words, it always talked about the ordinance. So you have to, if you're gonna change the chart, you have to change all the sections in there. So we
So maybe
went,
that's what this is.
that chart is, I believe it's correct. That's the chart that we worked on here.
See, and look at the changes. Where the rear yard of a commercial or industrial building abuts a public street or alley or.
Yeah, but we had no authorization to
No
work
less
on
than
any
10 foot is
commercial.
required, and they got rid of that. But-
Yeah, but we had no authorization to work on anything commercial, or to recommend anything on
See,
commercial.
I want to believe that this references is what's here.
Yes, I don't have any issues with the chart. What I have issues with is that when you get down into the nuts and bolts of the ordinance, the recommendations that we had are not being communicated to the PMC. And those changes, we didn't even, the ones that are being communicated, we didn't even discuss. So I don't know where those, the chart that you're holding there, that you're looking at, there's nothing wrong with that one.
I don't know, Mr. Chair, I think if we don't have the proper side-by-side, the most updated documents, the way we discussed and recommended to the PMZ, I mean, it's gonna get kicked back and it's just gonna, we're gonna, I don't know, it's not the right document. You're gonna go back and forth for a while. I think maybe somebody go to the PNZ meeting tomorrow and just kind of review to make sure they're not being told something that we didn't recommend, or what we did recommend is not being captured.
We can't,
Were we tasked just to, I
we
know,
can't table this. No, because we're just recommending something. We were just talking about it a little while ago. We have the tendency to table things because we always assume that we're gonna have another meeting. But if we were just a committee that got put together as an as-needed basis, whenever something would pop up, and we would never meet, we just meet whenever we had an issue. We couldn't just put it off to the next meeting. We're just assuming we're always gonna have the next one and the next one. I think that's why we drag things on for a certain amount of time.
I think it's
This
the
too, I
way,
think it's just a suggestion from us, but P and Z's gonna give their own recommendation.
no, but I think it's the way it's presented. You said we had all those people here already. We had AP, we had the building association. If you put that in your presentation, that we had all those people, and they agreed to what we're doing, that gives it a lot of,
Yeah, no, but all I'm saying is that the stuff that is before, the stuff that P and Z is gonna look at tomorrow.
There's something that we didn't ever discuss.
Right.
Right.
But is
Not
that,
there.
so
the
if the
percentage
chart's
can-
right, maybe
No,
the
there's-
chart P and Z is, all the changes are summed up in this chart, because all this writing
That's
does,
gonna be a
No, no
discussion.
son muchas horas.
it just reflects, what's that?
There's not very many pages.
But that reflects what we've got in the chart, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So the
if they can-
discussion
if
is
they-
the chart.
If they can correct this for the meeting, then we're good. That's the point that I'm trying to, that's the point that I'm trying to make. And then if we can have another meeting 2 weeks after, to ratify and or, say, we're gonna stay with our
2 weeks
comments.
after Thursday, you're saying, yeah, you're saying 2 weeks from now. so-
Or 2 weeks.
And the one thing that for sure needs to be presented at 100% is that chart, because I know that will be the discussion point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one could, it's lame, but the other one, we could just come back and correct it and reflect the changes on whatever values get agreed or not. But I know that's gonna be what P and Z is gonna be really arguing about, because I already heard.
So can
some
we
challenges.
just clarify tomorrow to P and Z that,
Well,
even though they received a bunch of information, the intention is for them to strictly just look at the chart?
The chart.
Because all the writing
Or
does.
at least that our comments come from the chart. I mean, we can't tell them what to do. They can look at
but
everything.
there's not that many things to check.
No, we get it, yeah.
Yeah.
But what we're just trying to say is, especially for the P and Z also, is just so that they know, okay, we're gonna look at the chart, and then, so that way when they approve it or make changes to it, they can make changes, and maybe staff can kind of tell them, hey, whenever you make changes, say, we want to change this chart, and any other, whatever that corresponds with it in the land development code. And then that way, they
don't go through the whole
essentially
thing, they
just
just go
tell staff to, hey,
focus on
can
the
you just
chart.
rectify the ordinance so it matches this chart, wherever it is in here that it doesn't.
Just take a picture of this. And
That's
it's más o
fine.
menos a page, más o menos a page number.
Yeah, I don't think we need to overcomplicate things with P and Z at this point. Let them, they were charged with the same task as we were, right?
Yes, yeah.
To review the, whatever, setback issues.
Well, they started on it as a result of us initiating it.
We were charged to review
Yes,
it,
at the chambers.
To make a recommendation,
to make a
so,
recommendation and have them
I
review
was at the
it.
time, but it's at 6-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's only fair for them to get the correct recommendation. But it's not too much.
Yeah,
So
okay.
They can get it at tomorrow's meeting, before tomorrow's meeting.
I think tomorrow, it's as simple as this. I think tomorrow the staff just needs to help clarify, hey guys, you got all of this, but it's this
Yeah.
and this, or whatever.
Yeah,
Make it simple.
yeah. Yeah, because I'll probably have, some guys will probably have questions, why did this commercial stuff come out?
Correct, and we can just clarify that.
Yeah, but that was, this is the correct one.
Yeah, that wasn't recommended by us.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Okay, there's on the chart, new residential plat after, and there is no date.
Because it's after when this gets approved.
Okay, so we,
In other words, that-
it's
yeah.
gonna be that date.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that,
And I think on the printout, it got cropped. That printout is cropped,
Down at the bottom?
yeah,
yeah, on the side.
it says that.
No, it's cropped, in other words, you can see that it's missing stuff.
Yeah, there's,
Yes.
The matrix is missing some
If
columns.
you go to the one that Victor sent, just close this one off and go to the one that Victor, the one that says final draft. Go up, that one is a little bit better.
But,
Yeah, except, let's see, go down to the bottom of it.
I'm missing half of it.
It's missing part of the bottom also.
Yep.
It's missing some of the wording. So go to my PDF, or not my external drive, and go to copy of pages, right there. That's the one that got approved.
That includes all easements or
Yeah,
some words missing.
yeah, it's, in other words, it didn't print. Doesn't.
You try to save it again.
I sent it to Roland and Victor. I think when
Yeah, because I saw some email communications that you guys were talking before he was trying to.
yeah, when he finalized it, I said, look, this is what was approved.
huh, how am I gonna send it if there's no email here? I'll copy it to my,
Yeah. They're working overtime to get that water line in, huh?
Is that what they do?
I'm gonna have to connect to that water line in about 30 days. They gave us a downtown elderly apartment building project.
Yes. Candy corner?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's gonna be a good one.
Nice little 2.1. That's a nice project.
It's a nice project. That's a heavy price tag per unit, right? But it's federal funds,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be fancy.
I think it's running like a, everybody's building $250, $300 a square foot, and I wonder why it's always over budget. Oh man, if they could value engineer it, I could save easily like 150,000. But that's what they're going for. Fancy stuff.
What about you guys got the water treatment offices?
No.
Oh, y'all didn't get the north,
No, the north
Yeah.
one, Davila's doing that one, Romo Davila.
oh, I thought y'all had gotten the offices there.
We're doing the existing utilities building expansion, but it's just a little small, 4,500 square feet.
Yeah, they had a nice 2x4 tile in that, in the offices. 24 by 48 tile.
24 by 48 tile?
28 by 48 porcelain thing.
24 by 48.
That's like the size of this table, this portion. Are you serious? I didn't even know they made that.
That's a tile that my
How
wife
much more do
selected
you
for my
pay in
house.
labor to get it all?
Are you sure it's not 24 millimeters by 48?
No, I saw the request for, I said, I thought we were supposed to be trying to save freaking money.
No.
Can you imagine having to transport and set that? Like, 2 guys are gonna have to set that.
Yeah.
That's just too big.
I should submit for a building permit in about 2 weeks. And it's blew everything out on that one. To the
Vamos
bone.
por 4. Tengo que dinero para...
Really call everything
I
out.
don't know, what's this? I stick my head in there.
I'm gonna put it out.
Maybe they changed the specs, but that was,
For that building.
that was
But if it came out of their pocket.
Because after you guys let it go, I
no,
gotta talk to you something
no
else.
business person that,
Okay with
you know,
No value engineering.
No.
I mean, unless, you know, unless you're trying to impress somebody.
They're so inefficient. Everything. Just finishes, engineering. Oh, that does not make straight walls. Just do a curved wall, you know?
Okay, so
So the table,
I'll add that.
Very symmetrical.
This is,
so I guess we can open up the next item,
So are we done with the chairman's, right?
or what did you have?
Was it?
so the next item is,
Or did you want to show the exhibits, or what?
well, this is just basically an exhibit of explaining what the setback stack would look like with a cantilever. Those that,
Oh, that's still on the setback.
Oh, that's yours.
What is the X with the square? Is that where the parking goes? The carport?
yeah, that's the carport. Yeah. I'm like, X.
I guess wherever the carport goes, that should be a 20-foot setback, right? The 10-foot setback's on
It ain't
the,
gonna work with it.
I think that the 10-foot setback, the way we did it, was only on wherever the cars don't go.
Okay,
And this is how we will have a cantilever, so you want
wanna
to column
explain it? Yeah.
with up to 10 feet.
So what is this 10-foot setback there?
The only thing though, on the exhibit that I see is on the carport, it needs to show the 20.
Yeah.
Because if we show the carport with a 10, the car's gonna stick out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's the small.
So I guess we could do
Yeah.
this. Put the old one.
Must say, continue this little
So we
stretch.
go into setbacks section? Go to 130, Cresta maybe, the one that says on forms check, the one at the very top.
Most people think this is the street
Okay. Go down there.
10 and next to another 10.
So we have, you see how it's got that 20 feet for
Yeah.
the garages?
Mhm.
That's a 20-foot setback, in other words, that's it?
That-
Well,
Because you put
This
10
used to
feet.
be up to here.
Yeah,
Or 10 foot
okay.
face.
Yeah, so it has to be over here.
But just the parking area, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't, and that's, and there's probably, we need 2 exhibits, Mr. Pinzon. One for new subdivisions and one for existing, because at the committee level, the recommendation here was that we didn't want to change anything in the front setbacks, right?
On the existing.
Yeah.
On the existing,
So the existing will be 20,
20, yeah.
20, 10.
20,
10
zero,
on the carport.
0 on the carport. We had 0 setbacks on the carport. We had the property line was the setback
For existing?
for existing.
For the roof, I mean, for the, like where the fascia is.
Where, yeah.
That's what we're
We had a vertical setback. Go back to the chart. Maybe open up the chart. What is that one?
Who's this one?
Copy of pages. Oh, was that yours or?
Yeah.
So.
The same 10 steps on the jack of the side here.
This is all,
Oh, you know where we probably put it? We probably put it on the, on the supplementary standards. Is probably where we made the change, no? Was that in
For the carport?
Yeah, because I don't see, do we have anything here regarding,
the existing.
Yeah, it was in the deal, you're right.
The table 503? Is that what you're talking about?
no, table 503, no, that's the building, ¿cómo se llama?
Land
That's-
development.
No, table 503, that's in the ICC, or what is it, the
The code.
But I was gonna ask you, that the setback shall be 20 feet, single-family residential use. Does the carport need to be, the carport language need to be in there?
I think that, yeah, I think we had it in, we need to go back to the, we need to go back to these pages to see where it was.
No, but does it need to be referenced in the matrix here, this matrix? Because I know we did change it.
I think
No,
we
but
changed
that's,
it under where the rules for the carport were, like
Supplementary
half,
standards, yeah.
Yeah.
right? And the carports gets half of the building setback. You can do up to 50% of the building setback
Right.
It was
with the
it was
30
open,
inch
yeah.
and all that. I think that's where we
So,
modified that part.
go to page 187, let's see if it's in there. And it's gonna be section, or it says 24-77, section 24-77, so. Page 187, go down to 186.
No, that, you're in
Oh,
creek right there.
Oh, yeah, you're already at 3.
Landscape. That's working.
212.
And it was 187. Twenty-four dash 77. Twenty-four dash 7, go down. 24 dash 77, okay, so go down, okay, that must have been all,
So here are the dimensional standards.
so at the regulations. Okay, go down, see if it didn't change something. Okay. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Porch.
Carport.
Yeah, we went through that like extensively. Okay, a porch, carport are formally enclosed, not enclosed higher than 3, single, and we added single family residence for these carports, not enclosed, all sides.
Vertical subject to easements.
May extend to the front property line, and that the property line boundary extends vertically, subject to easements and site visibility and minimum parking requirements. That's the one that, Edward,
Yes, sir.
that's the one that we're supposed to.
We're talking about.
We removed the no accessory buildings. There was a chart, the chart was geared towards adding the stuff for the new subdivisions. And then the stuff on the carports was where the devil's in the details. In other words, where it talks about accessory buildings and all the other stuff. So this is where we had changed that in the past, you could go 2.5 feet, half the distance on the sides. So we went to 5 minimum and eliminated the 2.5 because that's the one that causes problems. In other words, when you get into the 2.5 from the back property line or 2.5 from the side, ya no entra la gente. I mean, if you have a fire or whatever, I mean, it's very difficult to get, to get through there on 2.5 feet. So that's why the recommendation was to eliminate that. But that's where the stuff is on the carports.
Yeah, the only thing comment on the canopy, is going to say canopy, a 10-foot set, a canopy, structurally, that's hard to hold up 10 foot.
But we didn't have a canopy.
Because you show this thing, a canopy right here, and you ain't gonna be able to hold up this thing out at 10 feet, you're gonna have to put a column.
It's at 5 feet.
No, we went to
Oh,
zero.
we
We went to zero at the recommendation of Mr.
Pero I'm going by what they're showing here.
But that was,
You're not gonna be able to support that.
that's inconsistent. This canopy thing is inconsistent with the recommendation. Mr.
You're looking
Gonzalez.
for.
Yeah, I left it over there. I guess you can go back.
But that's a 20-foot total carport. Maybe we're
Yeah.
just trying to show what you can do cantilever deal. I could think it was 8 feet or 6 feet.
No, we went to zero.
We went all the way to zero.
No, they were talking about where to put the column. Remember we were talking about?
The column has to be inside the property line.
The
Oh,
column
that's
is-
it.
the column at the boundary
Mr. Cantu
line.
wanted the column at the property line.
Yeah, I remember that now.
But the thing is, if it says there on the deal that the boundary line, the property line is vertical, so
Yeah.
whether you put the column there or the overhang, it cannot go past that vertical
You
boundary
cannot have
line.
an overhang, it has to go.
Yeah,
Right.
But that was only for the, that was
Front
only,
setback.
that was only for the front setback.
Right.
On the other setbacks, we have the normal, overhang can get, and there's just a foundation.
On the
can
rear,
get in
yeah.
there.
Cantilevers could be
Subject to
created.
easements.
That's the memory, where we lose our memory.
If you get over it, then it gets worse.
No, man, I'm talking about when people leave. I keep saying that, in other words, when you retire somebody, you lose,
Continuity.
And it's gonna
you
be,
lose memory.
there's gonna be, that's it, that's a big void coming up. A lot of people are leaving.
Are we talking about the city of Laredo again?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
That's why people are transferring right now.
When they retired,
There's
Gordon
things
Moore,
coming
the
up.
waterworks, they lost a lot of memory there. He knows where the valves are and everything.
so
Over
the
city.
cantilever
I mean, he would knows.
design there, so
Yeah.
I think that's inconsistent with what was being recommended. What was being recommended was that you could be able to go 20, all the way to the property line,
Yes.
except for corners. On corners, you have to maintain the
Visibility triangle.
visibility triangle.
I thought we included corners.
No, we
You
talked
said
about
the
the
same thing
visibility.
last time.
Why no? But Mr. Chair, right, we said that corners were allowed, that it's noted in the, or did we exclude them, or did we?
I don't know if we addressed the carports on the corners, did we?
Yes, as long as you can,
I know the setback for
the
sure.
triangle, is the visibility triangle,
Right,
you could have it.
right.
Now, and you might be able to still do it if the property line and the curve line is
That
far
was in the-
enough, you
that was
can
in the
still
chart.
be able to get that triangle.
Right. Man, I got a headache. I think it's covered, I'm not worried about it.
Did we talk about, on the chart, did we talk about that was a disclaimer down at the bottom, right? At the bottom of the table? On the Word, on the Excel
The
document?
opinions expressed by this committee are not necessarily reflect the city of Laredo.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say did not necessarily
Chairman, we're getting this, 7 o'clock and we're.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
even got over the irrigation.
We haven't even gone over green space, it wasn't green space, so what's on the?
Yeah, well, that's not irrigation, I take it back, the tree ordinance.
Well, this one doesn't say tree ordinance, I was reading this right now, it says existing ponds and buffers.
Yep.
Is anyone gonna make a motion to extend the meeting by a little bit?
Yeah.
That's gonna be-
Yeah.
City of Laredo space
Motion
preservation.
to extend the meeting by 30 minutes?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Alright.
Because that's where it's in the green space ordinance. They're sticking this in the green space ordinance.
Yeah, the tree thing, I think, has always been in the green space ordinance, but here, I guess maybe they're trying to stick it inside the section of ponds and buffers, maybe? I don't know.
It's in the green space ordinance.
Yeah.
Because that's where, in the green space ordinance, is where they've got the areas that are protected.
Yes, correct.
So they're putting the trees.
They're trying to put the trees in
The
there.
ordinance in the area where the green space ordinance is geared towards protecting.
Protecting certain areas, and then they want to
certain
protect
areas,
trees
yeah.
too.
So that's why they were, that's why I believe that we're inserting it in there. No, not that one, the one that's the Excel spreadsheet. Yes, sir. What does it say down at the bottom? Okay, all setbacks shall be reviewed for utilities and parking requirements and site visibility. So it's kind of like the catch-all.
I agree, because there's some situations where your street is lower elevation than the property, and you don't want a car parked there because you're gonna obstruct all the visibility coming, traffic
You
coming
have,
from
you
this
have all
way.
kinds of problems. I mean, even in some of the new areas, I'm not gonna mention the subdivisions, but even in some of the new areas, all the landscaping on the corner,
Yeah.
lo puedes ver.
No,
And these are new areas, I'm not gonna mention subdivisions, but brand new areas, at least within 3 years where the landscaping has already grown, and it's kinda like, you know, you're creeping.
Right.
yeah, porque
I
casi
have that
no lo pares
situation
y todo el mugrero right
in
there
the
in
corner of
the
my
corner.
house.
And then the
Your
drivers,
exist-
the
your same
drivers
home, your
don't
home or-
understand because they're coming down the road, they're thinking you're
Your
passing
neighbor's
a
home.
stop,
You live in
but you
Delmar?
can't see.
Yeah,
You're
No,
trying to
there's an
go.
ordinance that
Huh?
addresses
Hillside
that.
area.
It says on a
So
disability
they built a
triangle,
carport
you cannot have anything
close to
taller
the
than
garage.
18 or 24 inches,
No puede ver.
and not anything lower than
And
8
it's a
feet.
corner.
So, yeah, you cannot have it, if you have 8 feet, so it's addressed in the ordinance, but they're not enforcing it.
Right. Cause I have this one guy
So they
who's 2
took
blocks
it.
down from my house, and the pad or the lot is give or take about between 12 and 18 inches higher than the street, and he parks right in the corner, he has a
18
Suburban.
feet.
And you're coming and you're trying to look, and you gotta get past that Suburban to be able to see the traffic.
Yeah.
And then the guy passing by is honking at you because he's thinking you're taking the stop, but you're not, you're trying to get visibility. But, yeah,
But you're not planning on doing that in your corner, right?
no, I mean, not if people can't see me.
This is like, it's like sweet.
This year, I'm just
Yeah,
trying to put it
that one's
together.
good. The cinnamon one?
You don't have to eat sugar or anything.
I liked it.
Yeah, that one's good.
No me gustó.
¿No te gustó con la de cena?
Yeah.
A mí sí me gustó.
Yeah, I like that one.
Now try the other one, try the Mexican,
No, me gustó más
whatever.
del mexicano.
Yeah, that one's good too. I can both.
I like can't even think with my headache.
God, I hadn't gotten sick in 2 years. I got sick last week. Forgot how
So,
miserable it
what
was.
was the purpose of the cantilever? 'Cause you said-
We were just, I was just trying to come to understand,
And the lever, what?
I guess what we're trying to communicate was that if you have a corner home site, that kind of like, you know, you can't really have the carport all the way to the edge if it's gonna obstruct your visibility triangle. And like and that you always have to maintain your 20 feet to park the cars. The 2-car off-street parking, 20 feet. There's no setbacks that can exceed that.
Who did the exhibit?
Huh?
Who did the exhibit?
I had one of the guys there, and so we were just like, come up with something that shows what we're doing so we can see it. Okay, and,
Yeah, I was thinking something else.
Yeah, because I don't, you know, if they think that you have to be 10 foot from the property line to the column, that's not a true. You could have the column right on the property line as long as you're not past it.
What's the purpose of the curb? What is that?
yeah, I don't know what this one is, that's not what we talked about, so.
I don't know what that is.
And then, I guess whatever it's showing in there, it's gotta show 2 parking spaces. Cause that one looks like it's only 1.
Yeah, that's why it's missing
Yeah.
the 20.
Yeah, it's gotta be,
Mhm.
there's gotta be 2 parking spaces. Or to show 20 feet, like you're saying, or 18 feet or whatever. I think it's 18 feet. Of course, if you look at the ordinance, you can put strips. On the ordinance, it says you can put strips, like little,
What is trips?
to park the car and have grass everywhere.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ordinance.
And that used to be very popular in the 50s. They used to put runners. They used
trying to say
to call them runners.
I'm just telling you, it's still in the ordinance, I'm just telling
Yeah.
you.
Instead of putting a solid slab, you would put 2-foot white runners where the tires would go. And that's in the ordinance. And other people don't like it. They'd rather have a solid concrete slab.
I just like my grass in the backyard. Not less grass, the better. Less water.
So we're gonna get an extension, because it's already coming.
Yeah, we did a half an hour extension.
We did
Lost our chair.
We lost our chair.
No, there's plenty chairs.
No, I know, but, I mean, that generally this is, that's what I was envisioning, no?
Yeah, I was.
That you end up, so you end up having, so you can extend your home up to 10 feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to have a carport side that has 20 feet to park, and then you can have your techo and the car,
No,
nothing can
because this guy
extend
has
past
to be
that.
2 cars.
Boundary line.
It has to be
Back 2
25.
cars.
Yeah, so this has to be 20 feet wide,
Yeah.
or maybe 18.
18 feet.
Maybe 18 feet, right? I know like most garages inside are 20 by 20, no?
No,
For a 2-car garage?
No.
How big is a 2-car garage?
how big is the car?
The 24 by 24?
Uh,
No, not anymore.
a car.
19 on the outside.
Hmm?
Yeah, they're not 2 truck garages, they're 2-car garages.
So what are they, like 18
The
by
the door is 16.
The door is like.
The standard door is 16 feet wide.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like the inside, like 16 and then.
They're 18 by like 20.
18 by 20.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I can't fit my F-150 and,
They're 2-car garage, sir.
yeah, I can't fit my
Not a
car.
2-truck
I
garage.
know.
Not a-
I'm gonna get after my home builder
Build me a 2-truck garage.
for not, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even fit.
Exercise it.
That's what you bought, 2-car garage?
I mean,
Is that what you got around?
I didn't buy a 2 SUV.
You didn't buy a
garage.
2 car garage?
You didn't, what are the little smart cards, are they called?
The next time I build my house,
Two smart car garage.
the next time I build my house and they write 2-car garage on my site plan, I'm gonna scratch out car and put truck.
Yep.
No, I don't have, that's
Did you
the,
get
That devil's in the details.
I built my stepbrother's, home over there at, San Giovanni.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, my truck better fit, was give me the specs of your truck. Because it's a 2-car garage.
Somebody used to offer like an extra, they saw like Texas size and they would offer like another 3 or 4 feet
Yeah, you can just
or
pay
something.
for
I
it.
saw, somebody would offer that one on their
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah,
Dillo
pay-
or something.
just pay for it.
My,
Exactly.
standardized, my standardized home builder.
Pay for whatever you
Yeah, well, not
want.
mention names, but my standardized home builder didn't want to do that. Obviously, they said, well, now you're customizing the home and it's.
So on that exhibit, Mr. Pinzon,
Yeah.
I think if we can just add, the 20
But,
feet,
yeah.
the way you got that, exhibit.
So, yeah, we'll have, we were talking about
this one,
carport
yeah.
showing dimensions,
Yeah, what I did here.
how wide is the garage?
So there's my 2
It
cars.
says 18, so then it'd be 18.
Yeah, true, but it's gotta be wider, it's gotta,
Should be enough.
it's gotta
Yeah,
show,
But you can also do.
show it a little bit wider so that
You can also do
it
something
knows that there's 2 cars and then
Yeah,
that the building can
One per
extend.
garage.
Oh, well, no, you need a 2-car garage by ordinance.
So there's
You have to
really
have
like 2
2
little
cars.
exhibits,
We have
one
to-
for
yeah.
an existing home,
Oh,
one for the new.
spaces, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have the
requirements,
ability to
right?
park 2.
Oh, I
They
like
couldn't go
Two
10
car
feet.
Yeah.
that. You're just saying do it like they do in the
On
mobile
the
home.
existing.
Yes.
Or you do it
Do it in
tandem.
tandem.
And turn-
Tandem, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
No, what I was saying was, yeah, I understand the idea where that was coming from, but I was envisioning
This whole thing
this.
only fits 1 car.
Este nomás tiene 1 car. Unless you put
Oh,
it,
yeah.
if it's big enough.
Right,
Instead of-
you can have
instead
one
of saying
side
you
that
can do
goes
20,
up to 10 feet,
Para que quepan los
but
dos
the
carros.
other
Yeah.
side has to have the carport where the columns and nothing extends past the lot line. Something like that.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I think when everybody hears a 10-foot setback, they think the cars are gonna be,
In the street, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to make that clear.
yeah.
Okay.
And really the way to do it is because you're used to seeing lots like that, but everybody else in the world, whenever they see the lot dimensions, they assume that that's all the way to the back of the curve, you know? That's where everybody else,
Yeah.
that's where everybody, and even guys on P and Z. So it's
Yeah.
almost like instead of doing it to property line, we have to draw the other 9.5 feet
Yeah.
and then draw the
Right.
curve and then draw the street and the sidewalk, so you can say, oh, it's still enough.
I see people who say, the street's mine. I said, no, your property line's over here, from property line to
Half
the
of the
curb.
street.
Yeah, no, they think that, yeah, and to the point they even put pallets so nobody will park
Yeah.
in front of their house.
Yeah.
Because they think that that's their property.
Chairman, what
Nails
we
work.
can do just to make it easy on the visual, we'll try to get one of the aerials of one of, like a standard house with a 20 setback, well, pretty much anything actually.
Yeah.
But one of the latest subdivisions and with the aerial, and use an actual aerial and kind of overlay the extra, and like that they're able to see the property line, the curve,
Another
and
couple
see
of
everything.
lines on it.
We'll just do it actually.
I can give you several addresses where they have a carport right at the property line, you can do that.
Oh, I have those, don't worry.
I've got all of my special list on the wall in the office.
Yeah.
Those are my special cases.
That's what I've been saying, I mean, I've got a lot of
The two,
examples.
I mean, it's the big- those are my special cases.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, was there any motion we were making on this, or what? What were we
And then we
doing?
update the exhibit.
It was only under communications.
Oh, this is still under communication.
And $20, if anybody can tell me what this curve thing.
Yeah, I
And that's like a little spring hinge like that you can put on the, that would probably work as a support.
It's like a diving board.
Yeah,
We'll correct that, yeah.
it makes sense.
No, I think they were trying to represent that cantilever.
Cantilever.
Look like the Taco Palenque
I
has
guess,
in their own.
I'm thinking we,
Oh, sorry.
no, I'm sorry.
Oh, just really quick, the only thing I just would want to see on the exhibit, we might just generalize this a little bit, the only concern, it's a little technical thing, is on the code book, just to see on the spacings and such that we don't, my worst thing when it comes for the city, that we promote, let's say, certain dimensions, and it has to be those dimensions. And I know there's code requirements, unfortunately from my part, I don't know those specific spans accordingly, I just don't want it to contradict to what the code says, so I'm
You're saying on this.
like the other one, you see how it's 10 feet?
Yeah.
You know, some people will take it as gospel, well, those 10 feet they can deliver.
Yeah, this, well,
Well, we didn't
now
need to
you're
show
getting
that
into,
anyway.
yeah, I don't think that the city needs to get into making a
Correct.
structural recommendation.
Correct, and that's what I mean, I want to
Whether a
remove,
structural engineer
Yes.
or manufacturer specking that out. Maybe we can just show the line, lot line and not to exceed 10 feet or, you know what I mean?
But Victor, this was gonna be a separate instrument. This is just for illustration, not to be part of the
no,
ordinance.
but the reason I'm saying that, because we know some people that would
Yeah.
take
This is
that
a
as
PNG,
gospel.
hey, you know what, this is the gist, this is the general
Yeah.
picture we're trying to.
And so
talk
probably the only updated when it comes to that, I'm just gonna remove the dimension.
Yeah, I mean, you
in there.
could go in and put notes like, all these details are for visual representation only, all ordinance, all designs must meet the current specifications of the
Yes.
structural code or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
my
just
minor
like your-
disclaimer
Yeah.
with that.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I think the idea is just to generally represent something that gives a general picture
Yeah.
of the thought behind this.
Yeah, I guess should we get a motion to open up item number 5?
You're controlling it.
Pardon? I guess we don't need a motion to open it, right? Item number 5, discussion with possible action regarding the City of Laredo Green Space Preservation Ordinance 24-57.5 design standards for existing ponds and buffers and any other matters incident thereto.
That was the tree ordinance, Mr. Chairman.
I guess we do have a copy of the tree ordinance that you distributed.
I emailed it
Yeah.
and another to everybody.
Is it the definition?
Well, it's, in other words, that stuff they got emailed,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess did you provide everybody a copy of it?
I didn't provide because I tried to print, what was there, and I printed all this. And I don't know what is part of the,
11 pages.
yeah.
Oh, did I send that? As part of the tree?
No,
No.
this is what I printed out, and it was 11
Yeah,
pages.
yeah.
Those two documents. The
So
agenda.
this was,
Yes.
this is the land development code, so I'm looking for the tree removal applications.
Should we at a minimum, I guess, while we're here, we don't have that much time, should we just identify maybe who the stakeholders are? Because I know one of our tasks, the committee is kind of get everybody's feedback whenever there's a
Well,
new ordinance. so
When
maybe
I
one we
read this
can
thing,
kind
I
of
didn't
identify.
reread it again, but when the whole issue, when we finally got the copy from Mr. Porter,
Mhm.
we had a meeting, I guess it was like on the third floor over here, one of the conference rooms upstairs. And we went over the deal. In this ordinance, it's geared strictly for commercial,
Oh, you need one copy.
if I recall correctly. And it's when you're going in there and doing redevelopment of an existing, bless you, of an existing property. And it's trying to protect the trees
Oh, yeah.
for commercial only, nothing related to residential. So the stakeholders, I
Nothing
guess,
related to residential, but if it's a residential subdivision that's being developed, it's considered a commercial activity. In other words, that's gonna be affected, I would imagine. If you have existing trees?
I think there was I heard of an issue where a residential subdivision the developer was fined because destroyed trees that were there to clear the land.
but
And they were told to replace the trees.
was this an existing?
I just saved the salt cedar, which I don't think is
I
protected.
I guess how we
enough.
came about, I guess is that the
It's a big
question,
tree.
or?
No, it's not what I'm trying to say is that when I read this, if I remember correctly, it's been some time, is that it was geared, the way I interpreted it was geared towards redevelopment of a business tract, nothing with respect to like residential, which is one of the things that Armin mentioned, is as, we're changing the setbacks to 5 feet, or recommending to change the setbacks, and man, what if there's
You
a,
go in the heights and you
yeah,
start
what
chopping
if
down
there's a
trees,
20-inch caliper oak tree back there? The resident, the guy says, I don't want it, Huh?
I think I think personally what you're mentioning, those are gonna be cases that are gonna prevent somebody from not being able to do what they wanna do.
Right, but it's nothing in this recommendation from Mr. Porter's committee, what's the name of the
Addresses
committee?
that.
Environmental
Was-
committee.
Okay, the environmental, they didn't, I don't believe there was anything here regarding residential. There wasn't anything here regarding any new subdivisions. It was all geared towards, like you have an existing business tract and you're gonna modify the business, if there's a big tree in there, you gotta preserve it. That's the way I read this thing, if I remember correctly.
No,
And I
because
think-
that's when they came up with the two trees in the front yard.
The two trees in the front yard,
But
it's
that's
been there for 20
residential.
years, yeah, it's been there
They've been there
for 20 years,
20 years.
20 plus years, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they increase the caliber of those trees, or is it the same?
The definition of a tree is
They're
a
still like
woody
1.5.
plant, sir.
Oh.
And I'm very comfortable with that definition.
It can be a little,
Well, I know they're saying,
Quarter.
I've had homeowners come to my store and say, I need to buy, because the city told me that to get power, I need to have two 2-inch caliper trees in front of my front yard.
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
no, yeah.
On commercial, it is, you have to.
Not,
have your
but
landscaping.
residential, it is something
I'm
like that.
not sure about.
There's a
The point I remember seeing trees this thick, of course, they were ash, and you know the things go pretty fast, but
We should probably have like a little education deal on every single one of these
Yeah,
ordinances.
don't be
Put a cheat
changing,
sheet.
don't be
Because I had
changing the
an engineer with a
definition,
site
sir.
plan the other day, it was all
Don't be changing the definition,
And
I'll
even
tell you
have some
why.
green space.
Because if you have, if you have that stuff, because of the size of the
But
lots,
he didn't,
you're gonna run into
Any
big
commercial.
major problems.
are you sure?
So that's why,
Yeah.
like most of the builders are gonna put like a little
They
thing
are
in the
no
middle,
more.
Yeah.
It's a
and
certain
they're gonna
percentage,
put
5%.
a regular tree.
Well, it's like every
Because
35.
the canopy
foot.
is so
I'm
big,
sorry.
so they'll be changing that.
Oh.
definition.
Change it, I'm thinking we're making it more,
And you
Difficult
you can either hydro
you
seed
know,
or
new home buyers, you know,
can put
you're adding a
aqua
tree
Well,
that's.
I don't know who's telling them that, so it might be a subdivision requirement.
irrigation
Yeah, could be
system,
that.
of course.
Yeah.
It might be a HOA requirement, like San Isidro, we have to comply with certain size trees.
yeah.
Which
When
is
you go
crazy.
into, San Agustin, San
They
Agustin,
ask you for, I don't know.
The
what
developers
trees,
providing the
I don't know what
trees.
Caliber.
But that's
you're
wrong, if
asking
they're
you
doing
to
that,
find,
it's
you
wrong,
can
and that's the
pretty much-
developer who created the HOA, who comes up with those
Yes.
restrictions, you know. It's
He
wrong
owns the
to do
land.
He
that.
only can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it's his property.
And you're buying the lot there, and if you choose to buy there, you abide by the rules.
If I don't want,
the way it is right
I don't
now.
want trees by my swimming pool, you know.
Take it.
Well, you know, we went,
Adventure, real quick,
What-
what would be the issue if you would be at the heights and you had to walk around and
Require
in the
less space.
backyard, if you wanted to extend your
Exactly.
house? You think that
Well,
that isn't fair to
water.
work around the
Right.
tree and it's more, you know, you pull it, you bring the tree down, even though it's a beautiful 40-foot nolal or something?
Well, again, I'm just saying that from the perspective of where I think this ordinance is trying to go with, they might not allow that. And so what I'm saying is how that, to me personally, again, it's personally, but how that applies to the building setback changes that we're trying to make is, even though we have a building setback, let's say the building setback gets
Okay.
approved to 5 foot in the back, right? Up to 5 foot, let's say that gets approved. That doesn't give you, I don't, personally, it doesn't give you the right to just knock everything down up to 5 foot in your backyard and just extend the whole thing.
Correct.
If you've got a tree or something that requires you to maintain because some other ordinance or utility to respect because some other ordinance, then it is what it is.
That's part of the plan review process.
Correct.
That's what
I
they're
remember the
doing.
discussion we
correct.
talked about,
Yeah, generally
What if
speaking, I'm just
it's,
saying that even though we
so
may
vision,
approve
how
a
is that
building
defined?
setback change, there may be, I think we all understand, there may be other things that will
Yeah.
prevent us from maybe ever doing that in our backyard.
Okay.
And one of them could be the tree.
So, in other
Is
words,
there
on page,
tree preservation?
on
in
page
existing
3
Ordinance right now?
of this proposed, it says, all the requirements, regulations, and/or instructions of this sort shall apply only to commercial developers.
On what?
On stream ordinance.
yeah, but commercial
But
development,
that's like even at the TCQ level.
I
okay,
define
so
it
they're
as-
not
That's,
based
but that's
on-
not
Commercial
like for
development
on the residential.
Private property is on
Existing,
AE, B1, B1R,
There's nothing right now.
CBD.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think there is.
it's, So in other words,
And I think
Yeah.
But
something must
this
have-
developer was fined.
Right.
What triggered?
Something triggered this?
What triggered
There's
that
so many
one, it was
conversations.
on the Springfield, the Avery Apartments.
Yeah.
They were doing it's on Springfield and,
Oh, right in front of Regency.
Man Road.
Yep.
Yeah, there was this one large,
Salt cedar.
and the salt cedar, it was a salt cedar. And, you know,
Governmental.
yeah, you see it in it back, well, when it was still there, it was this large tree. And so the contractor comes clearing, you know, whatever little that's out there, boom, lo tumbó.
Is salt
And so
cedar
that
in?
created a lot of like, hey,
It's
dude.
defined as junk.
Even though, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, salt cedar in a lot of places are defined as
Correct.
a nuisance tree or
Yeah.
something.
But the funny thing, the public
because
saw,
they
The
take
public
too much
liked it.
water.
the public
Left
saw,
one
it's a
recently.
large tree at the end of the day. That's what the public saw.
Yeah.
And not that they're right or wrong, it's just
Yeah.
that what the public saw. So when that happened, that triggered, hey, guys, look into tree preservation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
but you have tree preservation, obviously, in a larger scale in San Antonio.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, because you've got a lot of, you know, ornamental trees, or, I mean, a buddy of mine built a house, I remember, way north side, 1604, and there were like 2 or 3 mesquite trees that were flagged. He had
Oh, wow.
to do his foundation around like 2 or 3 mesquite trees.
Mosquitoes. Well, huh?
Actually, like I said, I don't want to mention names, but there was a
Yeah,
developer
I'm not opposed to.
who was
Mosquitoes are
fined
big.
And Edward, it's not only that.
for the, knocking down the trees, so he
Not
put,
preserving them, just not
blocks
knocking
for
them
the
down,
houses.
but by watering them.
Here in
What's the
Laredo,
use of
yeah.
having a tree
And he was
and you're not
penalized and told,
preserving it and it dries
Plant
out and
trees.
dies.
And the
So
green
he
space.
planted
Now,
trees,
the
of course.
trees really
No,
eat
there's
because of what
a
the dead trees
section
and
under
That's what
the,
happened with
there's
wetlands.
the green space ordinance,
They die out,
protects
it's not wetland,
the,
on development.
the tributaries, the
It's funny
tributary
how
twos
things-
and threes.
things Work even the other way.
And it was above and
Yeah.
it was, it's
I don't-
twos and threes, as you get, in other words, as
Look
you
through
have
the-
creeks meeting together, number one, they're protected, first of all, by the US government, by the, US Corps of Engineers, you know, the Environmental Protection Agency. But the city has an ordinance that kind of overlays that, so anything that's tributary to and above, you need to have a buffer from the high water mark, a certain distance that you cannot obstruct it. So if he got fined, it was probably because he was in the green space. He was
Next to a tree.
I think they were
yeah,
told,
you can only uncover like the underbrush and stuff like that, like you can't go in there and run a.
well, they remedied the problem by planting trees, okay, again, which were not watered and they died.
Was this in Monaco or what?
I don't wanna-
Monaco?
I don't want to mention.
Monaco was, and Monaco's right next to the,
Yeah, it's in
yeah,
the
that
creek.
one's protected, yeah.
Yeah.
So that one, yeah, but if you're not next to, yeah, like you said, I guess there's no other, I didn't know that. I thought, I assumed, I didn't know the green space was only,
The green space ordinance
For that.
protects the creek systems, and it's the second order, they call them first order, second order, or third order, streams, and it's one that, you have a first order stream, and then another one that becomes a second, and then you got a third one connected, then it becomes a third, and they have either like, I don't know if it's 25 or 50 to 100-foot buffers that you need to, not even.
That's where they went in there and
We
they,
came across that with the International Boundary Water Commission years ago, where we had to put in a water pump, and we removed some trees. We got
You got the bad deal?
by International Boundary Water Commission. I'm talking about 45 years ago, back then.
yeah, Fema had put in almost $1 million worth of stuff in his industrial park, cause it's all around, whatever the cord.
So I guess
They would do.
back then, yeah, we got 5 minutes left, so back then, and, so this ordinance only addresses commercial development, and it defines commercial development as zones A, E, B, 1. So, none
A
of,
platted
not-
property?
Does it define M1, M2 also?
M1, M2,
Okay.
but if you have, in other words, I guess that.
But it says
that-
planted. Say platted property?
Platted, yes.
So if you have an unplatted here, you can just,
So if you have an unplatted commercial, you can tumba
Exactly,
so this is only for redevelopment.
that's what I'm telling you. In other words,
I guess
it's-
that's the irony, because if, let's say.
And that's
that
a
example-
in other words,
that wouldn't
this is
apply
the
to that place over
recommendation
there.
for
Well, I
the.
guess because they're platting, it does, but if they didn't plat and they just lo tumba.
If it's
that's-
raw land, well, then it's unplatted.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when
If they do it
it,
as, just a few months before, it wasn't
I
okay.
need a root plant.
you have to get you have to get an NOI.
No, yes, for the land clearing. like,
Well, if you
that's
clear more than 5 acres.
But I'm talking about the
But-
tree in specific.
Well, okay, let's get back to
Yeah.
this thing. This is the recommendation from the Environmental
Environmental Committee.
Services Committee. So in their recommendations, it was only for existing, commercial, developments. So it doesn't address any new subdivisions, it doesn't address any
No.
new areas.
I wouldn't want to get more stringent than an environmental agency. That's like telling the EPA, nah. I
You need
think
to add more rules.
You need to add some more rules. So, I mean, if that's the way it came out, I mean, I don't know if it's our spot to become more stringent with it. And I know you dream of a canopy city and all that, which is a good idea. And I do agree we have to protect our trees, but I don't know if,
But then we just
if
go
it comes from the
for
environmental, I don't know if we
conservation,
should.
I kind of agree with Juan a little bit on that, in that, I don't, again, that's kind of where I'm saying, I don't know, where the direction came
Yeah.
for them to look at this.
Like, what are the
It came
stakeholders?
from
Is it
George.
the environmental guys? Is
Yeah,
it Tricia?
It came
Is
from
it
George
the
Ogden.
builders? Is it the?
George Ogden.
In other words.
He's the one that put this, in other words, originally his motion was for the TRB to draft an ordinance, but the city manager kind of said, no, it needs to start
Over here.
at building services, I mean, not at building services, it needs to start at
Environmental.
environmental,
Oh, yeah.
and have them make it a recommendation, and then TRB then submit it over.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be overlaying any more
I
rules
was-
on top
yeah.
of their stuff.
Whatever, I mean, can we get clarification on what our direction is on that? If our direction is just to take that and review it,
And rubber
then
stamp
that,
it,
then
then
we're
that's what-
limited
I
to
guess
that.
that the next meeting can it be where we need to specifically invite the stakeholders per se of whoever's gonna be affected or recommending or, we might need that environmental.
Or-
work to
or-
raise-
In other words, the intention of the committee is not any, in other words, if somebody, now that they can build 5 feet to the back, and they're gonna take down a, 20-inch caliper oak tree, does that matter?
It says
Tree lights
here-
matter.
Huh?
Tree lights matter.
I'm just saying, I mean, I'm kinda like on the opposite. It hurts me, cause I've, like, when I was building the houses over there at Deer Creek,
Yeah.
I've had a couple of times where the customers tell me, it's like, oh, está bonito el árbol, there was an existing tree, let me plant another tree for you in the back. No me gusta el árbol, quítalo.
Yeah,
So I've had to take down.
yeah.
I've had to take
No, it's
down
a shame.
trees.
No
So then
doubt.
will the
I just don't
setbacks
know if we should.
to the way they used to be?
I have a visual for you, sir, that cannot be untaken. Use your imagination.
I think that's what you're saying.
I mean, I hate to not do what we, I mean, in other words, every time we get one of these things, and that's what we do, we identify who the stakeholders are, we notify everybody.
Yeah.
and we
Yes,
have
I
a
think
meeting.
that's.
I mean, I think that's a proper thing to do. I think who the stakeholders are in the specific thing is very subjective.
I mean, the stakeholders would be the public, I mean, it'd be everybody.
It'd be everybody, you're right.
Who would be affected by preserving trees at this point? Would it be the landscapers? Would it be the contractors that are hired to knock down the trees that need to be aware of this?
But that's the thing.
Where would we
like,
start on that?
where-
That's what-
where-
The
where
property,
the
the
stakeholders
property
think
owners are the ones that are
Yeah.
affected.
We need to
I
find
know,
out,
but that's-
we need to find out. who
Yeah,
everybody-
any
this is
property
the
owner
document
that
says
has-
all requirements, regulations,
Uh,
and/or instructions of this ordinance will apply only to commercial development. So
Yeah.
we're only talking about commercial
You.
development. Commercial, yeah. But are we trying to do the tree preservation for residential?
Well, I
Well,
guess, look,
that goes back to my question. If this originated at environmental, and
it originated
at city council.
at city
correct?
council, but.
But there was some direction that went from there to
City
environmental.
city management said, go to environmental first,
Mm-hmm,
and have environmental draft the ordinance,
mm-hmm.
and then have TRB review it, and then so you can have a dual recommendation. That was the direction that came from back then.
Okay, so there was some direction when it went to, this is how I'm envisioning this. When it went to environmental to draft an ordinance, environmental must have been given some guidelines to draft an ordinance, right? Somebody told them just to do commercial, for whatever reason, they're thinking only commercial. So I don't know if that gives us, and that's kind of the discussion we're having, Armand, I don't know if that gives us a right to say, hey, what about this?
Well, what's the
What about
direction
that?
from council, that they want us
I
to
know,
look from
yeah.
The
commercial?
council, no,
or
council
residential?
wanted to have an ordinance to protect trees. That was a.
That's all they knew.
Like an umbrella,
Logistics
commercial,
of it.
residential.
Yeah, and then, yeah, cause like if you go to San Antonio, when I used to work with Armadillo, we're building in a retrofitted subdivision. It was a subdivision that was one of those that
Yeah.
they only
Went-
built like 70% of the lots. And all of a sudden, we went in there and picked up the other 30% of the lots, and we're building in there. And if there was a certain size tree, you had to design around the tree.
They're all listed here. The calibers are listed
Yeah, but
where
this
they're
is only,
protected.
but this is
On
only
commercial.
addressing
I just think we
commercial.
need to invite that environmental group.
I think maybe John Porter can come to
Yeah.
kind of speak
I think so.
as a staff member and maybe give us a summary of
Yeah.
what guide they were given.
Yeah, because I don't think we know where we're aiming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of went through that yesterday a little bit too. And so this is just kind of my little point to add. I didn't see anything about tree surveys in there. So what ends up happening is, okay, now you're asking to preserve
No, it
trees.
does have a
Yeah,
tree.
Does it talk about,
Yeah.
but does it mention, give guidelines to the tree survey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got,
Where is that?
Shall not protected trees within the limits of construction easements, right of ways, and a 12-foot strip
tree survey.
of
It's
budding
just
right
that,
of
it's just
way.
by
I tell you what,
definition though.
this has been sitting in the committee for a long time, because we saw this.
So we got
No?
it, yeah, we got it, and then we got sidetracked with other,
Yeah.
but the original stuff was in there. I think the guy that originated was George Allgill.
Yes.
And I believe his intent was protect the environment.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's a
it
global-
wasn't limited to commercial, it wasn't now the
It's,
committee.
it's really open, yeah.
It's a global statement, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's
general.
really open.
So I think on this thing, if you're talking about stakeholders, I think it's an issue of anybody that owns land.
But I think for sure it has to be that environmental group also, because they're the ones who's gonna go,
The committee.
Yeah, I mean,
they're the ones who are gonna go for or against whatever, you know.
And they
Maybe we
might,
don't hear or not,
and that
but
might not have
we're gonna
been the
look at it.
intention. But it's pretty well defined in there, because it even has a definition of it and all that. I just
Yeah,
don't
no,
look at
somebody
definition of
limited
it.
it to,
Maybe John Porter would be the good one to talk to.
John Portman, at least somebody from the committee.
Maybe somebody from the committee.
Yeah,
I don't know who's
somebody.
their committee chair. Judd used to be the committee chair, I think, but I don't
I
know.
think they were concerned with your concern. It's like, yeah, let's not overreach.
Yeah.
But the only issues I've heard about this is for residential, you know, that, like I said, this little couple came over to my store and they had to buy 2 trees, 2-inch calipers each, and 6 bushes, or else they wouldn't get light service.
Somebody gave them misinformation.
Yeah, but who did that? The waterworks or the city or?
But what is this thing, just one tree?
The tree is defined as a woody plant.
But you see,
Woody plant.
there's two different things here. This is
You have to
the
have
green
conservation.
space preservation, that's
Not-
probably the
not-
landscape ordinance.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
something
Yeah,
entirely
that's the
different.
landscaping portion, that's,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is just preservation.
yeah.
No le
the
muevas,
existing
no le
trees.
muevas.
No,
You know, the
I'm
ICC
trying to make it easier
has
for
a-
people to buy homes,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
We're trying to work with affordable homes for everybody, you know, and adding this kind of requirements, you know, 2-inch caliber trees in the front yard, you know.
No, but
That's
that's
about
not,
$1,000 more, and that
this-
is qualifying
this is-
150,000 people from
the
buying homes.
intent,
No, you're
Mr.
right.
Cantor, the intent of this is if there is an
preserve an
existing
existing
huge tree,
Correct.
No, I know that.
preserve it. That's the intent. So I think from this stuff, in other words, it allows you, this document allows you to take down a tree. And it allows you to pay minimal fees to take down a tree compared to a replacement of a tree. That's the way this original draft of this thing is geared towards making it easy. So in other words, if you have a 12-inch caliper tree, you're gonna pay $3,000 or something like that. If you look at the definition in here, versus if you try to buy a 12-inch caliper tree, it's gonna cost you thousands
Right.
of
And
dollars.
then the city goes in there and takes it $3,000 theoretically and goes and replaces the trees.
Yeah, it goes and plants them somewhere else, or you have to replace them.
Like the parks, whenever I pay the park, they go and they build the park.
Yeah, so, in other words, this is commercial,
That's all I'm kidding.
and it's not
Good
addressing,
job with the park.
residential.
Gonna get called them off from Parks and Rec.
Yes, I know.
So I guess the direction on this is gonna be, just so I clarify my mind, getting some stakeholders or some
Committee members.
committee members from the environmental committee where this came from
Or
to
clarification,
give us some clarification at the following meeting.
actually clarification from Edgell as to what he was talking about, whether it was commercial only or residential and commercial or what.
Okay, I think someone
Wait,
can
wait.
find that out.
Tree replacement fee, a fee shall be $150 per caliper inch of the protected fee. So, I mean, there's, trees have different values. Because some grow real quick, like you just mentioned, and some grow real, so
But that
here,
generally speaking is just all trees.
all trees are worth $150 an inch.
Yeah.
So it's, this document is very friendly for the commercial, and it doesn't address any residential. So in other words, a recommendation from this committee, in my opinion, is kind of like if that's the recommendation of the committee the same, then, it's rubber stamp and nut. If the committee feels that really this preservation ordinance should address some of the larger trees and the heights area, some of the larger trees and the older neighborhoods, then we should recommend other, and then we should, if, the big mesquite trees are important to us, as a community, then it should also address, some large land clearing, if you're gonna clear more than, 20 acres or 10 acres or 100 acres or whatever.
And if we're not gonna include residential development and other stuff in here, maybe we could do something to provide an incentive for over a certain caliper. Like mosquitoes, they look real nice, like in front of the LMB and all those buildings on Del Mar. You gotta do them right and prune them and all that. Maybe there can be an incentive like, hey, if you choose to save a tree over a certain deal, even though it's not required in here, in a residential subdivision development or anything else, then maybe there's some incentives in there.
Preservation.
Yeah, and
To preserve them.
to preserve them, like an incentive to be able to do that over a certain deal.
And for sure, you get credit for 2 trees.
Yeah, or something like that. Or you get credit for like some of the other things you have to do along the right of way and all that. Maybe it's a trade-off,
Okay.
Do we have a motion? So I guess the deal here was that we were gonna invite John Porter and or the environmental guys to the next meeting.
Slash stakeholders.
Yes.
Okay. So you have a motion to adjourn?
So are we gonna talk about the status of the board members?
Need one more agenda item.
Oh, we do. Agenda item number 6, I guess first we'd have to entertain a motion to extend the meeting if we want to talk about number 6, right?
Extended 5 minutes,
I'm exhausted. I don't know.
extended 2 minutes just to go over it.
That's,
I don't-
And or we address it at the special meeting that we're gonna have in 2 weeks.
Who's gonna be able to make the second meeting?
That's right, we didn't make a motion, we just talked about it.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
make a motion.
Well, I don't know if we should technically,
Right.
should we
It's a
call it a
workshop?
special meeting or should it be a workshop where we can discuss what P and Z comes up
No,
with?
because we're gonna, in other words, we should be able to make a recommendation, that way it goes straight to, in other words, we don't wanna make it a workshop and then all of a sudden we're gonna have to meet again.
Can we make,
Next subject to, or-
can we make a motion to,
Well, when is 2 weeks,
Can
so
we-
can we be here?
2 weeks on the 19th?
or maybe we can make a motion so that whatever the
I can be
workshop committee members
Oh,
decide
yeah, I'm
on,
sorry, I cannot.
that
make
we
it on the
will
19th. I can be
vote
here next
for
week
that
on
to be
Wednesday.
our recommendation. Does that make any sense? And we can make a recommendation now that whatever we decide on in the,
Create a subcommittee.
like whatever we decide on in the workshop, that we agree that that's what we're gonna present to council. Whether or not we end up agreeing with P and Z to make it a more fluid
I don't think
deal
you
going
can do
with
that.
it. Can we not do that?
I don't think you can.
So is everybody available on Wednesday the 19th?
I am, I can do it.
I'll still be here.
I'm available.
My son's birthday, I'm sure we're gonna do something.
1, 2, 3.
What's
4,
more
5.
important, your party with, or your son's birthday, or your wife's birthday?
I'm not trying to be a tree hugger, but
I'm
there's
wondering-
gotta be a mechanism in there to save some nice trees.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, theoretically, also, everybody has to eat lunch. We could always call a lunch meeting.
I can do that.
Yeah, I feel with that, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere that's close to everybody.
I cannot do it lunch on the
Well,
18th.
we need they want all the meetings taped.
Hmm?
They want all the
That's
meetings
true.
taped.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
But
We're
if we
gonna
have lunch
have,
here,
we're gonna have
I can bring in some lunch
We're gonna have a sit-in here.
Yeah,
Keep on rolling.
because we're having an election at work on the 19th.
on the 19th.
I can do it in the evening.
Oh, because we were messaging him about the,
I guess we could,
why we got
3 days
those,
before, whatever it
those
is.
red lines.
Well, we might as well set the time right now, so
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
I'll call
Is
you back
everybody
in
okay?
2
You're
minutes.
not, okay.
I'm available on the 19th for lunch.
Okay, 19th for lunch.
And we'll just have, can we have a meeting here and then we'll just bring,
I'm both, lunch or afternoon.
Lunch on the 19th?
Is this place available on the 19th?
One,
We'll make the
Well,
request.
4.
If there's an issue with the location,
I think all we're gonna do is just, if the city gets a little bit more restrictive than what we are, and we're gonna see whether or not we just say, okay, well, then we'll.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
make
no,
a
I-
recommendation.
I-
And we'll go, we're
I-
not gonna make it
less
any more
restrictive.
liberal.
others.
With
Yeah.
with the committee, decide, the only thing is, I have the commitment on the
On the
19th,
19th.
for lunch. On the evening, I'm free.
so there's 5 of us for sure
So you,
that are available in the,
Who are we missing?
Yeah.
we're missing Danny.
Oh,
Danny.
And then after the elections, I guess we can kind of sit down with each of the,
So I make a motion that we have a special meeting December the 19th, at noon.
I second.
all in favor?
hey, Terrapins, who's gonna buy Subway sandwiches for everybody?
All against?
Oh,
Motion carries.
we want ribeye sandwiches.
Wednesday.
You don't want Subways?
I'll make a motion for border, no.
Or border
Border
finders.
finder catering.
Sunday, well, you
And
know.
our general chairman can pay.
Second
Our
was,
awesome chairman can pay.
so we only really made motions.
So you're gonna table the last one about the committee members, the status?
It's not committee members, it's,
I mean,
because we brought this one up a couple of times on trying to get the council.
Get a probation.
Quick question,
full-time.
After the,
I guess because I don't know who's representing who, the next elections, is there potentially affecting somebody? Just you and,
maybe me voluntarily, yeah.
Who?
3.
Me voluntarily.
Well, but who's it affecting without the runoff? In other words, there's no possible way that your guys leaving.
Well, no, the thing is, I got appointed by Mike, I did reappointed by, Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Gonzalez already won outright.
Rudy.
Really wants to, I don't know, say if he's gonna reappoint me or
Oh,
he's
okay.
gonna get somebody else or
Oh,
whatever.
gotcha.
But from that standpoint, you're still in unless.
I got
Whoever wins.
can you step out?
Oh, you were with Charlie.
My district's gonna run off.
Not necessarily.
I'm still on until he says you're off, whoever comes in.
Or they can reappoint you,
Yeah,
because that's what happened to me. Mike got appointed me, and then he went his term.
Maybe
But
not.
now-
Maybe not.
I believe the way
I'm,
the ordinance is written
One advice
is that you continue
Successor,
until you've been
Oh,
replaced.
Torres.
Or
Continue.
reappointed.
Or reappointed.
Do you still want to be in the committee?
I don't know.
I was going to reappoint his chat, because I got appointed by Mike, and
I
then
wanna
I got
run
reappointed
I think
by
it's just
Rudy.
Rudy.
By both.
So I got appointed by Mike Garza,
We'll see.
then I got reappointed by Rudy.
Because he
I
got
guess,
reelected.
Yeah.
I guess we did, maybe somebody can make a motion to
I'll motion to table item number 6.
the special meeting?
Oh, what special meeting? I thought we had a
Until
motion.
the special meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
Okay,
sir.
that way the.
I'll make a motion to table item number 6 for discussion at the next special meeting
So the special meeting, we have just
on the 19th
the
of.
two
The
ordinances.
special meeting is on the
Tentatively on the
19th, the
19th.
election is on the,
The election's on the 15th.
The elections are going down now,
15th, it's
sir.
on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
so theoretically, if we end up
Next
setting
week.
another meeting on the 19th, a special meeting, yeah, we still have a quorum here, but unless people get reappointed like really
Yeah.
fast. we're
You
gonna
know,
have
because if you have an election on the
committee.
15th,
It's gonna be
they
the
won't
same
get,
situation.
they won't get.
They have to
You don't get thrown out
They have to
until.
canvass, no?
Oh,
Every
yeah.
person gets appointed.
But they're not appointed to
Okay.
get
Oh,
us.
good.
So we're still good,
All right.
now we
City council
can
can serve.
Okay,
reappointed.
Immediately?
is anybody second?
Yeah.
This is number 1.
Yeah, they can.
Number 2.
As soon as the
Even if they get
canvas
reappointed, I think
As soon as they
that,
can.
that one agenda item I was talking about us historically, so it has more so to do with our members right now, what our inputs would be to whether we wanna do consider the council making this committee a full-time committee or not, or just keep it as an ad hoc?
Well, I think
guess
that
that's what we discussed then.
if we want to try to recommend a council or approach a council member to put in the agenda, I think that the committee should, you know, maybe establish some goals and say, okay, council, you know, after doing this for the last 4 years, this is where we think we can, you know,
Improve, and this is what we
help,
think
help,
the
you know,
scope should
mitigate
be.
stuff
and-
going straight to, you know, mitigate stuff going straight
Which
to
would
council.
include
The presentation.
qualifications for membership.
That's fine, whatever, in other words, whatever.
Yep.
Originally, if you look at originally, when we went up there, we had talked about setting some parameters, like somebody that's a, you know, homeowner,
Kind of a road.
yeah, having some engineers, having some, you know, developers, and others, having a, kind of like, this committee should be composed of these type of,
Fraternal organization.
Yeah, these type of guys.
But Benny, you've been here the longest.
And you have one guy that represents
2 years.
this group, one guy that represents this.
Johnny from Inception.
That's not good.
And so, have you accomplished anything in the time you've been here?
We're gonna discuss that in the special meeting on the next one.
Yes, we have.
It's been a good.
No, we have. Turn off the, okay.
You might have already. Motion to.
I make a motion to adjourn. Second?
No, I was actually pleasantly, I was pleasantly surprised. I was driving the subdivision and,
Yeah, we can take them up with that thing that you were talking about. Have we made
and I saw some of the areas of the R1Bs.